The bloodbath continues with silver. The only question remains is how many more days can we sustain this before we see a bottom? Well, we'll try to answer that question in this video, as well as what caused today's massive downturn in the market as we explore. All the metals are in the red today as the markets have shown a blasting of selling that has occurred. There's a reason for it. Before we get into that reason, I want to thank Summit Metals for sponsoring the channel. A lot of people have been buying on the dip, and this is yet another dip that you can take advantage of as silver is below $47 an ounce right now. So check out Summit Metals in the link in the description below and experience their great customer service and fast shipping. So here is the tail of the tape with regards to precious metals, everything being in the red now, moments before the markets close. Gold is down 2.83% right now, down to $116.30 to below $4,000 an ounce for the first time in quite a while. But remember, that's still a very high number, $3,996.90 right now. Platinum and palladium also fell over 1%, both of those metals. But silver took the brunt of the pain today. It's down, it was down over 4% earlier in the day. It got down as low as $46.02. Crazy, after a high of $48.74. It is now sitting at $46.82 right now. It took a beating of epic proportions today. Now, I want to know what's behind a lot of this. Well, people are going to laugh, and I know people get angry when I mention, geopolitics and trade issues. In other words, the trade progress cools safe haven demand, according to Reuters here. And I know Reuters is not the most trustworthy source, but remember, it's perception. Perception is everything, folks. And it may not be the core reason why the markets move overall in general over the long course of time. But from day to day, that has a dramatic impact. And that's one of the reasons why silver prices fell as hard as they did. But there's good news with this that I'm going to get into later in the video. So stay tuned for that good news. Gold prices fell below $4,000 per ounce on Monday as signs of a thaw in U.S.-China trade tensions reduced some of the bullion safe haven appeal, while market participants awaited the U.S. Federal Reserve's interest rate decision this week. And we know where that's going to go. They're going to lower rates by a quarter point. In fact, these prices, I think, are still baking in some of that. And so when we see the spot gold dropping and silver falling too, it's because of those tensions. And a potential U.S.-China trade deal portends a little less need for safe haven assets such as gold, according to David Merger, a director of metals trading at High Ridge Futures. Gold climbed to a record high of $4,381.21 on October the 20th, but it retreated 3.2% last week following hints of easing trade tensions between the two world's largest economies. Negotiators from the U.S. and China on Sunday outlined the framework for a deal to pause steeper American tariffs and defer China's rare earth export controls. Donald Trump and Xi Jinping from China are expected to meet on Thursday to further discuss a trade accord. And once those deals get as more cemented or more positive news, we could see silver prices fall even more, and gold to some extent. Although remember, what's holding gold, what's propping gold up? It's largely because central banks around the world have been accumulating the metal and are not selling. They're continuing to accumulate. So in addition to technical selling, gold is seeing a further decline because of an unwinding of trade tensions that had taken prices from $3,800 to $4,400 over the course of the first 3 weeks of October, according to CPM Group's managing partner, Jeffrey Christian. Now, $3,800 could be potentially that bottom for gold. As we see these trade tensions start to come back together, or ease, that might be the low for gold. We'll see. Meanwhile, the market sees a 97% chance of a quarter of a percentage point rate cut at the Fed's meeting that will be happening on Wednesday. gold, a non-yielding asset, typically performs well in a low interest rate environment, while most analysts and investors see further highs for gold, even bringing $5,000 an ounce in view. Some are skeptical about the sustainability of its recent huge rise. Capital Economics analysts on Monday lowered their gold price forecast to $3,500 an ounce for the end of 2026. So that's the first bearish forecast that we're seeing now for gold after several days of drops. I don't think that's going to happen, though, folks. And therefore, I think silver is also going to benefit. I think maybe even more so. The 25% jump in prices since August is much more difficult to justify than previous moves during the gold rally. And although I will say that I disagree with that too, if central banks continue to add gold to their portfolio, and I think we're going to see more of that. If that happens, silver will benefit. Here's the other thing: how low will silver prices go from here? That's the key question. I don't think they're going to fall much below $40 through this. We got into almost to the high 45 range today, and we could see more pain as we head into the week for silver. I did a poll at my Sunday Night Live broadcast for the Market Watch, and over 60% of you thought we might see $50 silver by the end of the week. There's still a lot of different things that are in play that I'm going to talk about in a future video that are bullish for silver. That's right. And so that's why I think that $40 may be the bottom, or into the low 40 range, as we could see a couple of more days of pain. But sooner or later, I think it's going to bottom out much quicker than we think. Now, that is a pretty bold prediction for me, for somebody who likes to be a realist about silver. And I could be wrong, by the way. But there's just too much that is working in silver's favor. Not only based off of what I'm going to be talking about in a future video, but also general economic conditions with regards to, inflation, the loss of the value of the dollar, and also just the overall demand for silver. Demand overall is rising for silver, and there will be more supply chain disruptions for silver in the coming weeks, months, and years. That's right. In other words, they can't mine enough to meet the demand that's out there. And everybody agrees with that analysis. Even the most conservative of analysts out there believe that that is the case with silver. And so that's why I think that likely this continued hammering of the silver's price could come to an end relatively soon. And remember, when the Federal Reserve does lower interest rates, and they will by a quarter point and not more than that, it is going to mean that there's going to be some sustainability for silver's price. It will be sustainable at a certain number. It is going to bolster that support, whatever that support could be. Even if it's in the high 30s, that is still something to celebrate overall. Remember, it wasn't that long ago when I was talking about how we should celebrate $36 silver. $36 or even in the 30 range, we get to the point there where I don't think we're going to see it fall below that again. But I still think now, at least through this current time, that we may see a consolidation and a support level around the low 40s, maybe high 30s, but I still think the low 40s is where it's going to be. And I'm saying that after over a 4% drop today. But this hammering is somewhat healthy to some extent. And we can consolidate around that $40 range, then that's going to bolster us for the next rally. And the next rally will come. There's no question about it, which means that I think we will revisit $50 silver again. If not this year, I think we'll see it next year. So there you have it. That's what I'm thinking about what's going to happen with silver. So that's what I'm thinking about the range of how low it will go, considering what's happened today and what we're witnessing and dealing with geopolitically, economically, not just here in the United States, but around the world, and the overall demand for silver. So there you have it. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. I hope you found this video informative, insightful, and educational. I strive to bring you the latest news in the world of precious metals and analysis. So if you enjoy what I do here, I hope you will consider subscribing to the channel and pressing that thumbs up button. So with that being said, I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.